Welcome to the news. If you snooze, you lose. Just a quick one for today, just to keep you up to speed as always with what's going on in the market. Now, Hong Kong has opened up crypto exchange access to retail users, but there is a catch. I actually looked at this write-up, and there isn't really a catch in there. I think the positive to take out of this is, if you know, China actually banned Bitcoin and mining and cryptocurrency in 2021. So for Hong Kong to be getting involved in crypto and getting involved in crypto assets, that's really a positive. And you can also see a ZA Bank plans digital assets retail trading in Hong Kong under this new guideline. So China banned cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, and now I think they are realizing the benefits. I think China is very conservative. I think they like to have control over what's going on in their country, which can be good and which can be bad. I think they just like Facebook, they have their own Facebook as well, so they like to keep everything within, if that makes sense. But again, that shows they are really starting to open up a bit when it comes to digital assets. And you can also see that when it comes to their metaverse play as well, they are getting involved in metaverse. So metaverse is a virtual reality environment built on the blockchain, and there you can interact, host events. Somebody like Snoop Dogg has a land in the metaverse, Paris Hilton, JP Morgan, HSBC Bank, they all have lands in the sandbox. It has a very good potential for gaming, NFTs, ownerships. So it's all about digital ownerships and experiences. All these companies can easily use it and host events on the digital realm. So I think the world is going digital with the fact that a lot of companies are getting involved in VR headsets as well. Facebook, Apple is bringing out theirs, and a lot of other companies. So I think everybody knows it's going to be big, and everybody is trying to catch up and gather their own market share. I think China is quite good in gaming. They are quite big in gaming, so I think this is quite an area that can easily explode, especially when it comes to the gaming aspect as well, and the integration to gaming when it comes to Web 2 and Web 3 integration. So I'm quite happy that China is getting relaxed and starting to open up to digital assets as well, as we can see from the news. So again, another company called Prometheum subsidiary receives a digital asset qualified custody from the SEC. So if you've been following the news around Gary Gensler, which is the head of XEC, there has been a breach in communication when it comes to the direction of digital assets and how it's supposed to be governed. And as it is, if you watched the last sitting with Gary Gensler, I think there were a lot of things didn't go really well as he would have expected, because they were throwing him a lot of bombs, because to be honest, there hasn't been much clarity there. He's claiming the clarity is already there, but the companies are refusing to use it. But again, this might be an indication that they are starting to relax, because you can see here digital asset investors in the US are currently custodying cryptocurrencies that are securities through platforms that don't offer the same SEA, I don't know what that means, customer protection required for the federal securities law. So they are claiming is the fault of the company. And on the other side, the companies are saying, companies like Coinbase and XRP are saying there is no clarity in the market. And to be honest, from my own perspective as well, just being here for 2 years, I think a lot of companies are publicly crying out loud saying, give us the clarity and we are willing to abide by the law. So it's quite crazy how things work. So you can see here, Prometheum Ember Capital has made history as the first SEC registered broker dealer for digital assets. So on a positive, I think is a very good one. At least, even although they've been very vague and unclear about the regulations, I think one company getting it at least could open the door for others as well. I think countries like the EU has already released their MiCA, which is a crypto asset regulation laws, which makes it clearer for investors, makes it clearer for builders. And I think what it does is, once there is clarity, the sharp brains will it helps a country stay ahead of technology as well, which is what a lot of Americans are complaining about. The fact that there is no clarity is forcing a lot of companies to migrate abroad, so into places like Dubai. Dubai seems to be a crypto hub because they have a very welcoming regulation, and a few other countries including El Salvador that has now used Bitcoin as their legal currency and really digging into that. I think this Lightning Network as well, Strike, has also moved to El Salvador because of regulatory issues. So I think it's really affecting America in that direction. So that is that about regulations. I think all in all it looks very positive. So let's talk about Solana. Solana has now integrated AI into the blockchain. I think if you haven't heard about ChatGPT, you must be living under the rock. So ChatGPT is this very smart AI model that is very good at breaking down data. So which has been trained with various billions of data, and the only way I can describe ChatGPT to you is to think about how if you search something on Google, it gives you 10,000 articles to go through, but if you do it on ChatGPT, it gives you a few sentences straight to the point. So it's very good at analyzing data. So I think they plan to use it as a plugin to download GitHub, and will make it easier to understand Solana data and protocols and surface data about Solana computing infrastructure and DeFi projects. Currently, functions for plugin include purchasing non-fungible tokens, transferring tokens, inspecting transactions, interpreting public account data, and finding NFT collections by floor price on Solana. So they're quite I think it's a no-brainer at this point. Immediately ChatGPT came out, a lot of companies are already trying to integrate it into their company to speed up their processes, so it makes sense that it's integrated into cryptocurrency as well. Solana is picking up quite well. In the past had some issues, but at this point I think it's picking up really well as one of the very strong layer one blockchains out there. And even some of the accounts that I'm following that are running a lot of analysis are also confirming the very high transaction rate on Solana at this point, which could be an indication of a lot of the blockchain being very promising, because somebody said you don't want an empty mall. So if you don't want a blockchain that is not used, so Solana is being used, so that could be promising. Speaking about Solana, Bitcoin surpasses Solana to become second most popular NFT blockchain. So Solana is quite popular for NFTs because of the very low transaction fee, and the apparently is a very fast chain as well. I haven't used Solana myself. I've used the likes of Avalanche, Cardano, what's the other one, Phantom, Ethereum. I run away from Ethereum because it's so expensive. Obviously done few transactions on Bitcoin, so I haven't really used Solana, but apparently it's very cheap. And Solana started picking up traction with their NFT marketplace as well. So for Bitcoin to surpass Solana, that is really massive. And Bitcoin is usually known as the big daddy, doesn't have really much functionalities on there, but since this Ordinal NFT came into play, I think it's Bitcoin Ordinal trading volume currently stands in second place behind Ethereum. So the Bitcoin Ordinal NFT were created as a layer 2 on Bitcoin, if I'm correct. Correct me on that, please. So that introduced a new aspect on Bitcoin use, because now you can argue that you can run some of these functionalities that we've been investing in other layer ones for. Because in the past you can say, okay, Bitcoin is the big daddy. If I want to preserve my wealth, I leave it in Bitcoin. But if I'm looking for a bit of functionality, smart contract future, gaming, then we can do it on other chains as well. But now you're starting to do some of them on Bitcoin. I don't really know if that's positive or negative, but again, that makes Bitcoin less boring, if that makes sense. You know, people like what's his name, the micro strategy guy, what's his name, I've forgotten his name, but anyway, he started talking about, you know, if Bitcoin is the most secure network, then why wouldn't you want to store a contract on it? So NFT, even though it's always seen as a picture or a digital image, it could be a contract to anything. So you can really store that on the most secure blockchain. I think that use case makes a lot of sense. So that's about Bitcoin. So a lot of activities on the Bitcoin, also spiking up the price of transactions of Bitcoin. And at some point, I think a few weeks ago, there has been a lot of congestion on Bitcoin as well. So again, let's see how things goes, but I think it's in the positive directions. At least you have some functionalities on Bitcoin, and again, in the future, that we will start to ask our questions why we should be investing in other less secure blockchains where we can do the same on Bitcoin. That's the way I'm looking at it. Again, that's my opinion. So if you have any other opinions about the use of NFTs and all these on the big daddy, on the Bitcoin, please put in the comment. I would like to hear your views. Talking about NFTs as well, NFTs has been popping up lately. NFTs has always been popping off, to be honest, since 2021. And here, the NFT ticketing dishes out a punch at mixed martial art league. So they are trying to use it for their ticketing. So the good thing, the NFT itself, even though it's called is a non-fungible token. So it could be a contract, it could be a ticket, but the good thing about the ticket itself is that if you have it on the blockchain, you cannot adulterate it. You can always verify it. It's immutable, so you really own it, and it's verifiable. So I think it makes a lot of sense for these companies. They can use this to fight, people that, forge tickets into the event. I think they stand a chance to even make more money using all this on the blockchain. Blockchain is really massive. Blockchain is being used in agriculture. It's being used by brands like Louis Vuitton to reduce people copying their products. Now you can verify the product on the blockchain. So these are some of the applications of the blockchain technology itself. So don't allow people to make you feel like blockchain technology only ends around Bitcoin. You need to study a bit more and understand the technology itself. I think that's when you start appreciating the asset on its own. So speaking about NFTs again, I'm talking about this being big, so I thought it would be a good idea to end this segment with some of the companies that are now involved in NFTs in one way or the other. So let's have a look. You have Adidas, you have eBay, you have Shopify, you have McDonald's, you have Coca-Cola, you have Samsung. Samsung has is planning to release an NFT TV, so a TV that supports that contract that you can be able to display your NFTs on your TV. Nike, I think they are trying to create their digital shoes as well, and I think they are trying to link it to a physical shoe as well, so you can be able to verify your shoe. I know of a company called Flux. They are doing the same as well, so you can verify. Theirs is a watch linked to the blockchain and it can be verified. So if it's a 1-for-1, you can always verify that it's 1-for-1 because the person can always verify using that contract, which is the NFT. So you have the Formula One, you have Prada, I know about Starbucks, and a lot more. You just need to keep your ears on the ground to keep up to speed with what's going on in the market, which is why you should subscribe to Chesslock Trades, and we'll make this happen all the time. Peace.